we're going to cross the desk here to James Creedon, who's going to give us a look at what's hot online and on social media for Media Watch.
That's right.
And you're starting with the protests in Iran, and you've been looking in particular at how journalists have been responding.
That's right. So lots going up on Twitter, even though Iranians can't access it without an IPN, although pretty much everyone has an IPN apparently. But there are still a lot of images going up more for an international audience of what's been happening on the streets of Tehran and elsewhere. This is at Sharif University. You can see crowds there chanting Iranian elite killed by Islamic Republic, or that's the translation provided there at least. You have other journalists saying that they are paying close attention to what's going on inside Iran, that they haven't slept for 3 nights, they're tired, calling for support. We do not want the Islamic Republic. So that message coming through very strongly. And this is Iran Newswire, an Iranian media that reports on human rights issues and is reporting a lot on this particular conflict. They're also sharing images, and what they're saying, the crowd is shouting here is, if I can find the actual quote, "We want transparency. This country hasn't seen transparency for years. They lied to us." So they're talking about state television having lied to the people for years and years and years. And actually, a prominent presenter on Iranian state TV resigned very publicly, and she said in her apology to the public that she is sorry for lying to you on TV for 13 years. So this wasn't even about the fact that there was a cover-up of Iranian responsibility for the crash. She was referring to her entire career as a presenter for the state television. So it is interesting to see the level journalists coming out with those sort of statements. We've also had this is the Washington Post reporting on Tehran. The Tehran Association of Journalists on Monday came out with this. They decried the state of media in Iran, and their statement was, "What endangers the society right now is not only missiles or military attacks, but a lack of free media. Hiding the truth spreads lies, and spreading lies traumatizes the people." So these are very strong statements. Just to briefly to conclude on Iran, you also have the prominent Iranian actress Tarana Ali Dusti. She shared this image of black as a sign of grieving for those who died in the crash, and the message attached to it, as relayed here by The Guardian, is "We are not citizens but captives." So certainly a lot coming through in terms of criticism of the Islamic Republic.
So not just by the public in the streets, but also it looks like a lot online as well.
Exactly.
And James, next you're looking at what's being called the crisis meeting by British royals today. Queen Elizabeth meeting with Princes Charles, William, and Harry to kind of go into how to deal with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry wanting to step back from their royal duties.
And of course, the hashtag that very quickly appeared online was Megxit, and in the midst of Brexit, sort of moving forward a little bit, that has been mixed up with the whole story on more than one occasion. The document before the Queen today, which was the document to try to resolve and chart a way forward for this particular crisis, and why no one wants the saga to drag on like Brexit. That's actually a headline on ITV News website. But what a pity! If you can see here, AFP news agency is relaying the fact that Queen Elizabeth is agreeing to a period of transition. So it sounds actually suspiciously like Brexit, because all we've been hearing about is periods of transition for a long transitionary period. So Megxit is Brexit, according to this particular Twitter user. And here you have a cartoon relaying some aid coming into Boris Johnson saying, "Good news, we think the public have finally moved on from Brexit." So anyway, the two are getting mixed up a lot.
Johnson will be sending a cake along to Meghan Markle.
Anything's possible. But just in terms of the actual meat and bones of that statement, one particular person who got into the forensics of it said, looking at the statement, there are 3 things that stick out. The obvious lack of titles, her sadness that she would have preferred there. But let's focus on that in particular. Harry and Meghan is what the Queen used, as opposed to their titles, Duke and Duchess. So some inferring from that or concluding from that they will, in fact, in the end, probably have to relinquish those titles. So there's lots on that. I'm not sure if we'll have time
Parsing every single word.
Okay, I just want to show you this before we go. There's been lots of satire, and you know that Madame Tussauds quickly removed the statues of the royal couple, and this is one satirical rendering of what happened to those statues at the back of Madame Tussauds.
We'll have more on this story as well with our correspondent in London, Benedict Pavio, later in the program. So do stay with us for that. James Creedon, thanks so much. Always bringing some levity to the day.
Thank you.